Claire Pistol is here, but we shuffled her over to squeeze in Thomas Godfrey, who's a reporter at The Sun, who broke this story. It's been on the front page all week at The Sun about these Deliveroo, Uber Eats and all the other riders who arrive here, you know, to work. And isn't that great? Oh, no, it's not quite such a good news story. It's people who've arrived on those Channel migrant boats over the Channel from Calais illegally, and they're basically put in an asylum hotel that you and I are delighted to pay our taxes to pay for. But don't worry, they're making a bit of spending money, sometimes up to £1,000 a week, by working as food delivery riders, even though it's illegal for them to work. Thomas Godfrey, it's a fantastic scoop you've had, a couple of days in a row now. Development today, though, of course, is that the government's finally found out about this because they read The Sun, and now they're going to do something about it.
Well, supposedly so, we're told. We'll sort of have to see what progress they make on that, if they make any, or what they actually plan to do, whether they're going to go into the migrant hotels where these migrants are operating out of. I think what struck me when I was looking into this is just how easy it was. It's a case that within hours now of being processed, these migrants can be bussed into a hotel in any part of the country and almost immediately, through some of the Facebook groups we found, begin working and earning on these apps. And
explain to people how they're able to do that, because companies like Uber Eats, Deliveroo, whoever else it is, they are required to make the same checks. Every employer is legally required to check that someone is legal and allowed to work. Now, by definition, if you're a legal asylum seeker, you're not a legal migrant, you're not allowed to work.
No, and people in hotels have generally been here for less than 12 months, and so there are no circumstances in which they can work at all. A lot of people, though, will have legitimate Uber Eats, Deliveroo, Just Eat accounts and will sublet them illegally through Facebook. We found some available for rent for as little as £40 a week.
So how do they get access to it? Because I remember in your first report you were pointing out that some accounts were you know, basically paying 40 different people.
Yeah, so there's one Just Eat dealer, as they've come to be known, and his account was 50 different Just Eat accounts all going into one bank account because the same person was operating.
So the idea that Just Eat didn't go, this is really strange, this man seems to be working, you know, 40,000 hours a week. That's not possible.
Well, this is where the companies have failed in almost every way. And all of these companies say every time there's some sort of crackdown, they enthusiastically support it, but there's no actual sort of measures that they take to try and mitigate or just outright stop this from happening.
Well, they can stop anyone from something. There's no point in having any checks on the people you're giving these licences to do this, unless you're going to say you cannot pass that on elsewhere. I mean, it's not even just a tax avoidance, encouraging illegal black market economy and encouraging. You encourage yet another pull factor of people coming over illegally from Calais. There's also, I mean, I've said, I'm a woman. I've got a teenage daughter, and I've got friends with younger kids. You know, they all do an Uber Eats. Oh, you know, we're going out. You know, do you want to get a takeaway? I don't want an illegal migrant turning up on the door delivering an Uber Eats to a teenage girl. I don't. I think we are talking about a serious risk to people's safety at this point.
No, precisely. And I think, you know...
Because, by the way, no, they're not all engineers and scientists. Some of them, I know this is going to blow everyone's minds, are criminals.
Well, absolutely. But you know, you look at the hotels where this racket, as the government have now called it a racket, the Conservatives have called it a racket. Everyone seems to now agree this is a racket.
Well, the Shadow Home Secretary, Chris Philp, went and visited an asylum hotel himself and has written to the companies and to the Home Office.
Absolutely. But at that asylum hotel he visited, it's one that we were looking at for a very, very long time. We know that there have been e-bikes there for months, but instead of fixing the problem, instead of cracking down, the Home Office and the people who run that hotel simply put up a fence with a black felt cover over the top to hide them from public view. I mean, it's kicking the can down the road.
Sorry, are you kidding me?
There's no...
So a load of people are in that hotel is entirely for asylum seekers who are not allowed to work. They know that. They're all bringing their bikes. They've got everyone, you see them, those really big black, you know, these big boxes with the logo on, and they bring them back. So the solution to the problem was not stopping them working, prosecuting them, or the company reporting them. The solution was hide them from public view so no one makes a fuss.
The hotel solution was to put them inside a big fenced-off area.
My God!
Where they can still cycle in and out of, they can still make their deliveries.
How helpful.
Helpful for them.
I mean, did they provide bicycle pumps as well? I mean, anything else?
I mean, this is a three-star hotel. We know the asylum hotel bill alone is £3.1 billion a year. 4.7 billion if you throw in the accommodation, the food allowances. I mean, that is, as we pointed out a month ago or so, the entire taxes of a city the size of Manchester.
Yeah, but there's a small point, though. Of course, these people can probably afford their own accommodation because they are working legally. But again, this is one of the pull factors. And when we talk about, you know, how are we going to stop the boats, smash the gangs, whatever, the only way you're going to do that is you stop the pull factor, as in not worth coming here because you're never going to be able to stay, you're going to be deported, you end up in Rwanda or wherever, or you find it difficult to work. And we're told again and again, even French politicians say, the trouble is these guys can come, and not all women and children are in contradiction to what a Treasury Minister, Darren Jones, said the other day. A complete lie, by the way. They're all women and children. But these young men, they turn up here and they know they're going to be able to work. And the French have said, look, they know they're not going to have as many checks. They can work illegally. That's what they do.
Well, look, as part of this probe, we posed as a new arrival into the UK.
No offence, you don't look like you're from Eritrea.
Well, I've grown a beard, but that's about as far as I went in that endeavour. But it's on Facebook, we went into these groups, we posed as a new arrival into the UK, and within 10 minutes I've been offered several accounts by people who were willing to disregard the law to make money because they take a cut of it.
Of course, that was assuming that's the thing. So you hand out your licence, everyone takes a cut, and presumably no tax is paid on this.
Well, absolutely not. You're self-employed. It's the person who's subletting the account. It's their responsibility to do the checks.
And I'm sure, as upstanding members of the community, they would be paying all their taxes. And again, I mean, but also again, it does other people out of a job because there'll be lots of people who are looking for this kind of work who can't get it because, of course, these guys will basically work cheaper.
Absolutely, it's a supply and demand equation, right? If
and the big companies doing this know it's happening and it's cheaper for them.
It's a licence to print money. It's a licence to print money because if you have more riders, you can pay them less. And
this is more competition.
From the delivery riders we've spoken to who are working legitimately, who are either British or are training here and work on the side with visas, perfectly legal, they say the only way to do Deliveroo full-time now is if you have your rent and meals paid for.
Because you couldn't afford it otherwise.
You couldn't afford it otherwise, because they don't make enough money.
They know that, it's the business model, the government knows that, the HMRC knows that, while they're going after other people who've made a mistake in their accounts, and this is happening on a grand scale. It's mind-blowing. Your reaction, please, everybody. 0344 499 1000. Claire Pistlesworth, former Conservative Special Advisor in the Home Office. What is the solution?
You need to take their licence away to trade.
The company, the Uber Eats, the Deliveroo's...
The ultimate responsibility has to be with somebody like Deliveroo or Uber Eats because they know this is going on. They'll say that they don't, but they do. You need to start
50
doing
grand.
That.
Everyone we find, 50 grand.
Absolutely. I think that's the only language
Doubles
that they'll ever
100 grand. Keep doubling it. Money is the only thing that's going to matter to them.
Absolutely is.
But you could actually take their licence away. I mean,
I think you should.
I mean, a landlord of a pub loses their licence to sell booze.
And this will be no different. So any licence they have to trade in a certain area, pull it. Absolutely.
I mean, this is what we need to do, don't we? I mean, again, the main thing is these people shouldn't be in the country in the first place, and the French certainly shouldn't be free to go off and get an illegal job. Fantastic work, Thomas. I can't wait for the next scoop. Let us know. Come back on as Thomas Godfrey, reporter at The Sun.